So people are asking you the same questions over and over and over again, and it's just driving you insane. Maybe you're the business owner, maybe you're the manager, maybe you are just a fellow employee trying to help someone out and getting them trained. Well, what is underneath that is always the same thing, is when people don't have a single source of truth on how they're trained, and a way for them to go back to something to say, oh, is this how I'm doing it? Then they're going to go right back to the manager or the person training them over and over and over again. Because if you're doing it from your head, right, that's where the information resides. So that person only has one place to go back to when they want that information, which is in your head. Well, the other big thing that I notice is this, is people are out of their head on how they do something, but it's scattered all over the place. And therefore, there is no place to actually go look it up. Now, let's look this in like a Sesame Street thing on how to do. Let's say I'm simply training you on how to do macaroni and cheese. Act like those directions have never written down on the side of a box. So you're going to come back to me like 5 to 10, 15 times on how to do macaroni and cheese again and again and again. Though it's kind of simple, right? But because the mind is meant to have ideas and not to hold it, and when we talk to each other, over 50% of our mind actually deletes it, distorts it, or just tweaks it out. Like literally, we can't remember our conversations, right? So that is just a horrible place to do it. Now imagine if I had it written out, but it was in a difficult place or it was in all these different scattered places, and I didn't even know where to go look to figure out how to go look up the macaroni and cheese. Like imagine if the directions to how to make the macaroni and cheese weren't even written on the macaroni and cheese box. Maybe they might have been in this box, that box, stuck in the refrigerator, or how to do something else, right? So when that happens, when people are out of the head and it's scattered, then there's no place to go. And another fundamental is the agreement. And when people are in disarray, when you are in chaos, when you're overwhelmed, when you're wasting a lot of time on this, how do we do this again? How do we do this again? What's actually happening? What do I need to do? How do I actually do it? A lot of the times, more than 75% of that time and effort can be saved in 2 minutes, and it's based on the agreement. So I'm going to use a real world example. I was supporting a company last year, and their growth rate was off the charts. Like it was insane. I think they were at about, like 4 to 6 million a year. The next thing you know, 10 to 15, and then they were getting ready to clear like 50 to 100. And the manager was just getting absolutely slaughtered with all these calls. He's just like, most of my day, it's like handling Slack and all these crazy questions, and we're dealing with all these new onboards. Like we're losing like this hair. Like we're dealing with all these new onboards. I'm dealing with all the same questions, and from all the people who've already learned, like they're getting the questions back to me, and so. And I think that more than 50 to 60% of my day is literally answering the same shit over and over and over again. I said, well, okay. We started to work on the single source of truth where everything resides. We wrote it in 2 pages on a Google Doc. So let's have a quick meeting and talk about the agreement. The agreement now is this. We understand that as a human, it's impossible to remember everything. So the agreement is, it's written in the document. We all agree it's written in the document, and it's a single source of truth. Something very simple. So if you don't remember how to do things, if you're trained on it, you will go there first in order to look it up, so that you become a self-reliant, self-sourcing culture. If it is not there, one, you will let us know so that we can actually update the stupid thing so that it's current. Most of the things are just missing like 1 or 2 sentences in order to answer the question that people need. Oh, that's right, I actually need to pour water into the pot in order to make macaroni and cheese. But once it goes from the self person, then it goes to your peers to say, how do I do this? You don't go direct to the manager. You go from yourself to the peers, then up to a manager or owner if it can't be answered. The problem is most people are doing it from the head, or it's out and they're scattered, and they don't have the agreement where the person is going from here and they're going directly to the highest person up. And it's also the highest person's up responsibility, because the way that you have learned and grown until you got to a point to where you actually need to start having things documented and written out well, we get it. You worked hard on growing. But now you're at that point, so you also need to unlearn the behavior yourself when you're the higher up to say, hey, this is the agreement. go here first. First, go look on the side of the box on how to make mac and cheese. I don't want to tell you 5 times a fucking day on how to make mac and cheese. If it's not written on the box on how to make the right brand of mac and cheese, then you will go to your peers on how to do the right way to make mac and cheese. And if it's not handled on the side of the box or if your peers, then apparently we get to talk to me higher up on how to make the mac and cheese. Do you see how simple and easy that is? Because all you're doing over and over and over again in your work, you're just making mac and cheese. You're just making different ways to do different things in mac and cheese. And when you get that clear, not just on that one line item, think about how that's actually applying to all areas of your business across all the roles. So if you're just getting hammered by questions over and over again inside of one role with just a couple different recurring tasks and frequencies, think of the complexity that you've actually set yourself up for across the entire organization. But more importantly, think how easy it is to solve, because you could easily go from overwhelmed and chaos and getting slaughtered with questions to probably saving half your time and 90% of your headache and overwhelm easily in under 2 weeks just by getting the structure into place. So if you're getting slaughtered by questions all day long, the root cause is you by managing things from the head, or it's out of the head and not to a single source of truth that is simple, reliable, and flexible, with a clear agreement to wrap it up. And if you need help dialing that stuff in, that's what we love. It provides a huge return on investment. It's so easy to accomplish and things to do. Love you. Hope that supports.